Hello, beautiful people. This is Tony FlowReal, and welcome to the FlowReal's Hangry and Horny podcast. I was just sitting here before I hit record, thinking about what I was going to say, and then I said, you know what, screw it. Let me just hit record and say what I'm going to say. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is the first official Hangry and Horny podcast episode. I had done episode 0, which was just, testing out my new microphone setup, traveling with it, and being able to play and figure out how this thing works. So now that I know how it works, we are going to be doing the first official episode in which I'll be introducing my dear friend who's a guest on the show for, okay, there you go. I have a first brain fart on the show. My friend name is Matthew Myro, and we met a couple of years ago through the London Real Academy, put on by Brian Rose. He is a podcaster who started a few years ago. I think it was 4, 5, or 6 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while, but he has a successful podcast called London Real. And he started an academy where I met amazing people around the world that were now part of the tribe that I'm into. And in terms of finding the others and, connecting with other weirdos just like me. And knowing that I'm not the only one out there that's also, hangry and horny, so to speak. So Matthew Myro and I, we met at the San Francisco London Real focus group. And, Brian Rose thought that him and I should connect. And sure enough, we've had an incredible friendship these last couple of years. And I flew out to Galveston, Texas to visit Matthew and his honey bunny, Hanamana, and had a great time with them. And so during that time, we recorded the first episode of Hangry and Horny, which you guys will see what we talked about. So meanwhile, I'm having an event in San Francisco on January 27th, 2018 this year. It's going to be really fun. We actually had a pilot event in Santa Cruz last year in July. And what that was is called the Magic Flow Bus. So I'm actually going to read the what it's about, just because, I want to get it over across to you guys clearly. But, imagine an adult field trip where you can be blasted sky high without the use of drugs and alcohol. A full day and night jam-packed with the most badass activities. Kick it with the kindest human beings and special guests. Eating delicious brain-rocking food. Dancing to the illest, dopest music. And access the coolest, cutting-edge learning and biotechnologies the top peak performers of the world use, all while being guided by a professional team including medical doctors, veterans, athletes, coaches, and business executives well versed in the non-ordinary consciousness state known as flow. The Magic Flow Bus is for people who are tired of getting fucked up on the weekends to escape their quiet lives of desperation. Is for those who want a health over instead of a horrible hangover while playing with other flow-minded peeps. So the mission of Magic Flow Bus is to provide you a safe space that will health the F out of you so that you can become so clear and charged in your own vision for an incredible life, striving for constant improvement and progress. And I might add connection in there as well, while providing you the tools and support to live life unimpeded by prior fears, past self-defeating and self-destructive old programs. From there, We will give you the tools to reintegrate your new superpowers into everyday life. So that sounds pretty cool, right? Well, we're having that event in San Francisco on January 27th. Go to magicflowbus.com. That's magicflowbus.com for more information. On there is a special link to punch in your email address so that you can get an application to apply for this event. We like to get some information from people so that we can curate the event specifically for those that will be joining us. So that is the advertisement for this first episode, and it's kind of weird, feels silly to say, but yeah, other than that, it's gonna be fun. I hope to see you guys there, and yeah, so that's that. And yeah, just, Hangry and Horny. It's just, tongue-in-cheek about being human in this precious life of ours. And, knowing that you're not alone, that other humans out there are, feeling the stresses of life, the grind, and maybe even feeling disconnected, even though we are somewhat connected through technology. We've also lost the touch of having real conversations with each other, facing each other in the flesh, face to face, eye to eye, without a screen in the way, but just pure connection with human beings across from you without FaceTime. So that's just the whole point of this show, is to introduce you to amazing people from all walks of life, from scientists to artists, and the whole gamut of human beings that I find have found a way to live this intense life and to enjoy it, and to find the ability to connect with others and to share their passions, which is why I'm big into flow states, because I feel that that is the number one trigger, according to science, that locks our attention into the present moment awareness and enables us to really bring out the best of ourselves in whatever that we are passionate about. So without further ado, in this long introduction, I will now bring you Matthew Myro from Galveston, Texas, our podcast together. Enjoy, everybody. Record. What's up, buddy?
Oh, hey, man. I usually like to do 3 claps whenever I record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
that's
that
cool.
way you get 3 opportunities to line it up just right.
Oh, got it, man.
I don't know. I fuck up.
I'm going to do that next time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's been the process that I've been doing before. So basically with 3 claps, you get like 3 chances to line it up.
Yeah, because when you're looking at the sound in both, you have the 3 different lines, and just, 3's better than 1.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was used to the Hollywood, like, click.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That works too.
Yeah.
Just when I was doing some of the music recording stuff, that's what everybody suggested.
That's cool, man.
3 claps, and that's way you make sure all 3 of them are perfectly lined up with each other, and next time.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's part of learning, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You come from the industry, so I'm like down to pick up new ways to be better,
However I can be helpful.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I come from the industry. I tried.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah, you have more background in like sound than I do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit, baby. Yeah, okay, cool.
So what's up, Matthew?
Oh, this is fun. I'm glad we get to do this.
Man.
It's pretty exciting.
It's so cool to visit you here in Galveston.
So cool that you would just hop on a plane and come hang out with us. So
well, that's what I do, right?
That's what you do.
Yeah, man.
That's what makes you you.
You got it,
special.
man.
Yeah.
I got that benefit, so I get to like come see people on the fly, and as long as they want to see me.
Well, pretty sure I was super excited to see you. So.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Like, you had quite a journey leaving California.
Yes. Yeah. I got to escape just in time to not have my house burned down, which was very exciting.
There's a lot of fires going on in Cali this time of year, huh?
It's tragic.
Yeah, we're all year round, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Mostly this summer and fall.
And what's crazy about that too is that, last year we had such a wet winter. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is fantastic. It rained almost every day, like 5 days a week it was raining. It was like, oh, what a blessing. Finally, we're not in a drought anymore. But what did it do? It created all this new growth and all this underbrush that once the rain stopped, that just became just tinder, immediate, just it fed all the wildfires. So.
Which is interesting because we've been in a drought in California for super long, and there were fires, but like at the sort of amount that we had this year, it's insane.
It's insane.
With all that rain from last year and the snow, like in Southern California, it was the most green I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
it
stayed green like into June. It was amazing.
Like during the summer, it was green. I'm like, this is nuts. Yeah. And so now there's fires in like Northern California, and then
I think the Northern California ones are pretty much under control now.
Yeah. But it was huge though.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, and it happened so quickly, and then there was like LA area, and then Santa Barbara now.
Santa Barbara's toasted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got officially two different neighborhoods that I've lived in the last in the last 5 years. 2 different neighborhoods I've lived in got evacuated from fires.
Wow.
Just this season.
That's wild, man. Because between you and then my old weightlifting coach, which his like vacation home or their guest house like burnt down, the main house almost burnt down. So between you two, your place was where you used to live was really close to getting cooked.
It made it. It was that street, my old street's the only street that didn't get fully incinerated.
Wow.
And
so that was actually 3 places. So you lived in Santa Barbara, and then
Ventura.
Ventura. Oh, even Ventura. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
And then we know some people in Santa Barbara as well, right? You used to do like a business there too, right?
Yeah, I had a men and women's clothing boutique.
Yeah.
Retail therapy.
Yeah. Back in the day. Yeah. So I mean, those are like major counties and up in Sonoma as well, where you were up, or Napa.
Yeah, Sonoma, Napa.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it just Santa Rosa. It looked like fucking Mogadishu, like just bombed out. And
damn.
I mean, it was. I can't believe the way that it looked. So.
Wow, man. Wow. So you left just in time and you drove all the way out with your lady Hanamana to...
Yeah.
What's up, Hanamana?
Hanamana! Woo! How about you?
Yeah. So you guys went to Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Where you're from.
Well, yep. Mm-hmm. Went to Cleveland. It was really a hell of a drive. 40 hours straight. Just
wow.
Pretty amazing. Got on Highway 80 in Sonoma. Got off Highway 80 in Cleveland. So just
really?
Yeah.
Like how many stops?
I don't know, just to pee.
Just to get gas and pee, eat a little bit.
Or secretly, I was super stoked whenever Hanamana would fall asleep because I knew that I could just drive for like 6 or 7 hours without having to stop.
Right. So, she was saying how we have like bigger bladders.
Much bigger bladders, yeah. She was just a little like walnut. I have to pee again. I was like, that was 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But
she likes like many breaks.
Yeah.
So what was that like, and why did you move from California? What was going on?
It's time to go.
Yeah.
Time to go. I spent a number of years in the medical cannabis industry, and it started to really change. Just the atmosphere around everything was changing, and there was a really beautiful gray area that we got to exist in. Little mom and pop setups like I had in my place, and a lot of people did that. With the laws changing, it turned out that it wasn't going to be as acceptable as it was, and the atmosphere was different, and too many people getting into business and really bringing down the quality and bringing down the demand, and yeah, it was just a general pain in the ass, and time to make a big change, and time to go all in with coaching and really sharing a lot of the gifts that I spent a lifetime getting an education in and getting certified in, and it was like time to stop doing it just for myself and give it to people.
So what was your education like? What were you learning on the side while you were running that medical marijuana business?
Yeah, well, so I was in the industry for about 12 years, and started while I was in graduate school in San Francisco at the California Institute of Integral Studies.
Okay.
And got to study philosophy, cosmology, and consciousness there. So
that's a cool major.
Master of Consciousness.
Yes.
This guy. So that got to have a really good baseline education in the philosophy of religion and how different ideas of consciousness arose in the West and also in the East. And so started learning there, and then that kind of set me off on a great path.
I'm gonna step up your feedback here.
I'm not too soft? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what exactly was you're studying in that major then? So consciousness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like not usual major one would undertake in college.
No,
be offered.
That's what excited me though. So in undergraduate school, I was studying cultural anthropology and cultural arts, and also philosophy of religion. And as I was studying specifically with the cultural anthropology, I got really into shamanic cultures and ancient tribal cultures, and really their understanding of consciousness and how they engaged with not just our world that we have in our waking life, but in all these other mysterious dimensions that they seem to know a lot about that we don't really ever get to access. And so I got pretty fascinated with that, and all I wanted to do was study it, and found the one school in the whole fucking country that actually offers that as a possibility at a graduate level.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, man.
Yeah, right. Always leading in that area.
Pretty easy decision.
Technology as well.
Yeah.
But what was the background, or like how did you get into like that kind of cultural anthropology and studying of, ancient philosophies of tribes and ancient people to, understanding about that kind of stuff like meditation and other like plant medicine type things? What got you into that originally?
Sure.
What was the interest?
Originally, it was my mama. She was kind of force-fed Christianity as a kid and hated every minute of it. And because of my grandfather's job, he was a chemical engineer for Goodyear, and they sent him all over the world. So my mom got to grow up in India and Australia. So she spent her high school years in the late 60s, early 70s in India, which was a pretty happening time. And since you combine that with really hating all the Christianity shit that she was fed growing up and being around the Hindu and Buddhist communities in India, she really started thinking like that, and got really into crystals and kind of new age meditation techniques. And so when I grew up, there was Buddhist poetry inside the plate cabinets, and if I was sick, she would wrap me up in crystals and send me off to school. And
really, with crystals on you to school?
Yeah.
Interesting. Being in Cleveland.
Yeah, it was a little different.
Yeah, what was your peers or classmates thinking when you kind of...
they didn't really say much about it.
Really?
Nobody really, I don't know why. I guess nobody really cared. I got made fun of more. We were vegetarians too.
Oh my goodness.
So I'd have like a baggie of alfalfa sprouts in my lunch bag. Everyone else had, Doritos or whatever, and I had, alfalfa sprouts and like a veggie burger patty, and wow. I got made fun of for that a lot more than
crystals.
I don't think anyone really got the crystals.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cool rock.
Cool rock, yeah, exactly. But vegetarian lunches.
Yeah.
Different story.
Yeah, that was like serious fodder for clowning on me.
What about your dad? Like, was he like as open-minded, or he was just more neutral about like these sort of religious, spiritual
Yeah,
things?
he was more neutral, I'd say, like very open.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously he married my mom.
Right.
But his family's Jewish, and when he was, I think, 9 years old, their synagogue burned down, and after that, they didn't join another one, and so it was more about culture and community than it really was about religion for him. But even he's got, I don't know if I ever told you about this, but he has this thing about angels.
Okay.
And so, he feels like he speaks to angels, and so whenever he has a question or problem that he's trying to work through, wherever it might be, like he's a computer programmer by trade.
Okay.
But he also does all sorts of cool stuff. He's like rebuilding my parents' whole house right now. He's, you know, a guitarist.
So he's pianist.
He's like a true Renaissance man. He's my absolute.
He's technical though. Like he uses his hands. He's like, into like coding.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also like very untechnical and deep, artistic,
right?
Really artistic.
And as far as like being into angels too.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
So he would, if he had a question about something, he would pose the question as he was falling asleep at night, and then when he said every time he did that, when he'd wake up in the morning, he would hear the voices of what he calls his angels, and they would give him the answer as he's waking up in the morning. And that's kind of how he's moved through life.
Okay, so you had this background, so when you heard this major in college.
Yeah, well.
As a master's.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit more convoluted than that. I don't know if you want to know the whole story, but.
Yeah, man, let's hear it.
Okay, so, so then what really set it in was as I was in high school, my dad's first cousin was a guy named Myron. And Myron Ashowski, and he was working for Michael Harner and the Foundation of Shamanic Studies. And so he was traveling pretty much the whole Midwest area, leading workshops and seminars, teaching about shamanic journeying, shamanic drum journeying, soul retrievals, and things like that. I mean, I didn't know shit about that when I was in high school, but because my parents were so open and the rest of the family was like, thought he was a crazy person, whenever he would come to Cleveland, he would do a workshop there, and he'd stay at my parents' house. So got to asking him as I got older, like, hey, Myron, what is it exactly that you do? And he's like, well, I use the drum to send my spirit off to a different dimension where I can speak to plants and animals, and they give me answers to how I can help heal people. Whoa, it's crazy. And I had really bad acne at the time, and he noticed that, and he came for a visit, and about 2 weeks later, I got a box in the mail. He said, hey, Matthew, I did a journey on your behalf, and this plant called out to me. So just make it into a tea and drink it in the morning and apply it to your face at night. And I spent like 2 years going to dermatologists, having everything, every medication and cream and ointment that I could get, and nothing worked. And 2 weeks of this tea that from a talking plant cured everything, man. Like no more acne whatsoever. So that combined with how I was raised pretty much set me in the direction.
Right. But obviously you still have this science background too of, sort of being skeptical, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you had the experience. You went through the medical community, you tried, not like it doesn't work, but in your specific case for your skin condition, it wasn't working. And then this guy, Myron, came in and brought you some medicine from talking plants, and it cleared up. Yeah. So now you have this sort of way of experimenting and seeing like whatever works. Right. And you're able to have like, because what we're talking about is probably like not what most people in like societies is even knows exist.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm a skeptic generally. Like it takes me a while. It takes a lot of proof for me to be like, okay, maybe there's something to that. But firsthand experience is the greatest proof. Like I guess at my root, I'm a phenomenologist. Like if it's an experience that I can have, that's probably what I'm gonna believe. So I don't care if it's kooky.
Okay, so after that, you went through this program, and then what happened after that? Like, how'd you get into? I know you were saying when we were walking on the beach about like being interested in teaching and that sort, like being in academia for like a year.
Yeah, I thought this wasn't gonna be an interview, bro.
Totally right?
Me.
Yeah. You know me,
totally.
Man. I like fucking with you, right?
Like slip me up.
Yeah.
I'm being interviewed. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, well, I'm curious,
Why
right? I know you, man, but I want people to know who you are, you know?
Fine. Okay. Yeah. I always really loved teaching. So when I was in high school, also I was part of a youth group, and it was called the B'nai B'rith Youth Organization. It's like the largest Jewish youth organization in the world, and I joined because my homie. I wasn't Jewish or anything. I was half Jewish because my dad. But my homie was like, "Hey, there's sleepovers with chicks. You should join this thing with me." I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's do that." But long story short, I ended up getting really into it. I ended up getting really into Judaism and the whole organization and developing leadership skills. And I ran for a chapter board and the regional, stepping out to the regional level too. And the role that I played and the role that I was elected to all the time was the vice president of membership and education. And so it became part of what I loved, and I loved to bring these new young guys, like 8th and 9th graders, in and teach them about the history of the organization and teach them about parliamentary procedure and Robert's Rules of Orders, and like I just got really geeked out and into all that shit, and so I just loved teaching and really wanted to find a way to do that. And I thought that having a degree in culture and anthropology and art didn't really set me up for a job. I wasn't going to be able to go apply somewhere as like, look, I know how to do stuff. Like, I just know how to think, like, pretty much. So went to graduate school because I thought I could teach. And found out real quickly that academia is a total pain in the ass pile of bureaucratic bullshit. So didn't want to do that.
Right. So that led you into, pretty much and being an independent entrepreneur.
Yeah. Set it up.
Yeah.
And my dad's an entrepreneur. His dad's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's pretty much in my blood.
Mm-hmm. So during this time now, we're fast forwarding to your road trip.
Yeah.
Going to Cleveland, going back home. So you're now living a lifestyle similar to me.
Yeah, FlowMad.
FlowMad, right?
The FlowMadic life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you and Hanuman to just take that leave that beautiful home of yours and go out to Cleveland where you grew up? What was going on there? Like going back, what was it like for Hanuman to see like your roots?
Yeah. Well, leaving was really exciting and really scary. Like we're both pretty intuitive people, and we feel our way through the world a lot. We make educated decisions based on the facts around us, but at the end of the day, we're gonna go by what our gut tells us to do. So that's what it felt right. We knew we needed to leave. It was time. But it was scary as hell too, because it meant that I was leaving what I was comfortable with and I had a lot of success with, and had trying to step into my life as a teacher, and knowing that that's where I can make the most impact in the world and the most impact on the people around me is when I accept that as part of me and be more open and vulnerable to sharing all the kooky, awesome shit that I spent a lifetime learning.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting to Cleveland was just kind of the most comfortable place I could think of to ease into this new uncomfortable realm of my life. And spend a few months as an adult man with my parents was rare and a beautiful opportunity. And after a few months, it was like, okay, baby love is starting to go insane. My parents are cool as shit. They're amazing, wonderful people.
Yeah.
But all four of us work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents had an empty house for close to 15 years, and they had their ways and the way that they like to live, and I been living as an adult human on my own for that amount of time also, and then coming together it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a human thing to get some personalities together in space and in a commune in some ways, and it all sounds like, great in theory,
right?
But the actual thing and the dynamics, and it was family, right? And family is always interesting, and everybody's got their quirks, and
exactly.
Yeah, so you were essentially there and got into like the online sort of marketing program because you were looking at ways to, be an entrepreneur, get your message out.
Exactly.
How to get that out to people.
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the blessings of my academic background, is that I learned how to learn, and I know that's a skill I have, is I can learn really well. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna step into this life as a teacher, I want to be able to make sure that I can have as great an impact as possible. So I want to learn from the people that have had success in the past of being able to get their message out there. How are they doing it? And so taking on mentors and getting it going. How are we doing on time?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Okay.
It was just diving in. And it was intense. My mom was sad. Because for the 15 years that I was in California, every time I come home to visit, it's just playtime.
Right.
It's like, oh, let's go to the brewery. Let's just hang out and have some fun and sit on the porch and have a cocktail, whatever. And this time it was
you were like, just in beast mode.
Beast mode, yeah. I gave up alcohol and wasn't drinking, and I was waking up between 5 and 6 in the morning and going to bed at midnight, and just if I wasn't physically training, I was studying and trying to learn and
like internet marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
learn
learn
sales and
sales,
high ticket sales, and
right,
getting random people on the phone and trying to sell them a product and course that I developed, and it's a really powerful and big education, and still learning.
Right.
Learning.
So in that process, you followed to the T exactly what they were teaching you, but you noticed some sort of things that didn't really translate to the type of products or services in your art of which you were teaching.
Right. Yeah. It seemed like their system was very much dialed in for people who are teaching other people how to make money on the internet. If that was your role, if you were, you knew how to get leads for photographers, then the system was great for you, or whatever it might be. If you knew how to help people with their business, if your business was helping people with their business, this business was the business for you. But for me and other people that were in my cohort as wellness, in the wellness world and holistic health and all that, it didn't seem to work as well. And even people that like strictly in the fitness realm, even they were having some success with it for sure.
Okay.
But I found that people that were coaches, I don't really like the term life coach, but we end up taking on different roles. Like sometimes I'm a relationship coach. Sometimes I'm coaching people on nutrition and their diet. Sometimes I'm coaching people through a fitness program. Sometimes I'm coaching people through what might happen when we die, because I have training in what people think of alternate dimensions.
Right.
So it's like it's hard to pinpoint where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so their system wasn't quite as beneficial to me. But
which you tweaked it though, right?
I learned a fucking ton about advertising on Facebook, a ton about writing ad copy, and which are really valuable skills that can translate to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically you have been able to now have a business in it through learning from these experts, internet marketer experts,
right?
Tailored to your way of taking those skills and then sort of putting your spin on it. And now you have like clients that you work with remotely. You can travel. You and Hanamanda end up coming down to Texas. So like how did you know where to go next after Cleveland? Because you were at his house. It was getting a little cabin fever.
Yeah.
You know, with your family.
Yeah.
How did you guys know where to go from there?
So it was actually pretty funny. I was having tea with my mama in the morning, and she was like, "Hey, maybe it's time you get going. I don't think that your sweetheart's that happy, and I think that you probably need to go, and I think, your father and I would be happy to have our house back." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool."
Hint.
Yeah, hint. And then just a few hours later, my dad comes down, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you go for a walk with me?" And he's like, "So, I would love having you here, and it's been wonderful, but I think it's probably time for you to get going." And it's like, "Man, did you and Mom coordinate this whole thing?" And he's like, "No, why? Did your mother talk to you about it?" I was like, "Yeah."
That's
like, okay, same day, both parents. Oh, okay, I get the
which
hint.
we can get into later on, how these things happen.
They just happen.
Yeah,
it's like incredible. So and I guess we'll get into that a little bit now. And so my dad's like, "Oh, my sister, your aunt and uncle, they have those condos on Galveston Island. Why don't you see what they're doing with them right now?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." So I called up my auntie and said, "Hey, we're thinking about leaving my parents' house. Just wanted to see what's up with the condo." She's like, "Oh wow, yeah, well, we had been renting the one out for the last 6 months, but she moved out, and then the hurricane hit, and there's some damage to the place, so we haven't been able to get anybody to move in." It's like, "But they're about to fix that in a couple weeks. Why don't you and Hanamana just stay there and just stay there as long as you need to?" I was like, "Wait, we'll pay you rent, whatever." She's like, "Okay, I'll talk to your uncle about it, but I don't think we want that." It's like, you guys should just have fun with it." And it's like, "Maybe if you're there for a couple years, we could talk about the arrangement, but whatever, enjoy it. We're just happy that somebody can go to Galveston and enjoy it." So here we are. We're on an island, and it's beautiful. And the beach. We've since you've been here, we go walk down to the beach. We get there in 5 minutes, and put the feet in the water and go strolling on the beach. It's as far as a place to start building a business, that I couldn't think of a more pleasant. And
so synchronicity was happening. Yeah, serendipity.
Right. Yeah.
I never know how are those words different, but they seem pretty similar.
They do, I think.
One is more chronological, time, and serendipity is how's that?
Yeah, they're pretty similar. I think.
Yeah. It's just
I know synchronicity is more of it's specifically an impossible coincidence.
Okay.
And I think that we use synchronicity more than it deserves. It might be getting diluted.
Okay.
Yeah, I think more often what we're thinking of is serendipitous.
Right.
When we use the word synchronicity. Jung really meant for synchronicity to be totally, absolutely impossible.
Because he came up with that word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool that he invented a word.
I think he invented a lot of things.
Okay. Yeah.
Carl Jung was pretty much,
Right.
He was the founder of a lot of the things that we understand about our reality and our consciousness and our psyche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's this. So it gets deep with this stuff of consciousness and you guys were on a journey. People talked about the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell. We just saw Star Wars.
Yeah.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Last night.
It was so good.
Yeah, there was a lot of golden nuggets in there in regards to the light and dark, shadow, being human. Some comedy in there.
Some good comedy.
Yeah, which was so bizarre for a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
Threw me off for a loop.
Right.
But once you got into the movie, you kind of could see this is really cool. It's really relatable. I think for children, for it to not be so serious the entire time. That there's these characters that we've known since we've grown up with the Star Wars saga, right? So it was so cool to sort of have a different twist to that movie in the way it was produced and directed. So
absolutely, I love that point that you brought up about how it wasn't just pitting good and evil, and you got to see the dynamics within good and within evil, and good versus good and evil versus evil, and just there's nothing black and white about it. There's full shades of gray throughout the whole thing, which I really
and that was like the balance of the force, right?
Right.
Like this is, it wasn't like binary. It was more like this continuum of emotions within like evil versus evil and good versus good. I mean, that was like a whole another meta level of where they took Star Wars, because it was always like one side versus the other, but then within the one side of evil, they were having their issues, and then the side of good, they were having the issues with each other. It was pretty funny, right? It's like,
well, and that kind of reminds me of something that we've talked about before, the morning demons thing that you've shared. I feel like you're one of the just best people that I know. If you think of like a good guy, like you're a good guy. Mm-hmm. You're on the side of the light for sure. Way more in the Jedi than the Sith camp for sure, without doubt.
Yeah.
But even you would struggle with demons, right? And it seems like that's just it's a part of life. The integration, that balance, to know that we can't shove anything away. That nobody can be 100% good. Nobody can be 100% bad. That we're always some interplay of the two, and it's always a value judgment in the end.
Yeah, it's interesting with things like sadness or not feeling your best that day. You're just in a different mood. You have some mood swings. Maybe you partied the night before, or you just didn't sleep. Have a good night's sleep, like you're up thinking about something in your life, or like a decision you gotta make, or a journey that you're about to go on that is the unknown, scary. Or you just feel like you're just not happy with your life because there's more to it, and you're stuck at some job that you hate, and you're just clocking in. So
that's where we come in, right?
Because I think we're sort of going for it, and it's been difficult, but it's super rewarding at the same time. And I can't see myself doing the traditional 9 to 5 anymore. Like I will if I have to,
right?
But where in the past I wasn't even open to that, and that's actually like destroyed my marriage, because I was too stubborn, and I did like give in at that point. But at this time of my life, I don't have that same sort of black and white attitude towards it. Like it's more like how can I contribute? How can I serve? And if it means being independent, not relying on other people to take care of you, right? I mean, I think I had some qualities of being a millennial, even though like I'm way past that generation, but I can relate to where they're at, but essentially, we're taking this path, and it's difficult, right? But back to the mood thing, that's the shadow side,
right?
Like Jung, I kind of dabbled in it. I didn't get too deep into it, but I was certainly fascinated with like how psychology has evolved. And then now you bring in sort of these shamanic traditions, right, and other cultures, and they've been doing this for years using certain medicines, plant medicines. And then you get into like more modern day, like chemical derivatives or isolation. So whether DMT or LSD, these things are now becoming more like studied, talking about San Francisco and those days, and your mom, and the 60s and 70s, and like the Beatles and consciousness and meditation, and then all these things being outlawed just because, it was a crazy time in history, and there was like a blowback of like the type of changes that were happening in that time of history. And now
absolutely, and Timothy Leary, as the spokesman, didn't help the cause at all. He was a little too cavalier and gung-ho about everything, And if he had his way, they would have dosed the whole fucking water stream, you know? So, so I feel like a lot of the laws were a blowback against his bombastic personality, unfortunately. But yeah,
there was always like a
changing.
middle ground, right? Like
Yeah.
there was obviously some benefits that come from these type of consciousness inducing substances. So it's not like at least for my experience and having experience with those things, it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly think that there needs to be more education, because I think people are getting bits of it and then sort of going out on their own to like experiment and have these experiences, but they don't have like a good guide. And even with the shamans we were talking about last night, like that can be fishy too, because we don't know. I mean, they may have like 20 years of experience with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are experienced with really guiding people or helping them through, you know, whatever their agenda is. And then you could get somebody that's only been doing that for maybe a year or two, and they're like, their heart's in the right place and they're really there for people that when things are obviously taking a more towards the bad trip direction.
Right. And I think that's something that I'm glad you brought this up, because right now there's this psychedelic renaissance, and I've heard it called that even. It's
trendy.
It's trendy.
Yeah.
It's becoming trendy, and there's a lot of really good press coming out around psychedelics right now.
It's the research,
it's helping people in incredible ways, and it's really it's getting the notoriety that it deserves finally.
It's getting more mainstream with some big names, public figures coming out.
Exactly.
Marijuana being legalized in these states.
It's being huge.
Yeah.
So it's not strictly demonized like it had been for the last 3 or 4 decades, and it's actually being accepted. But I feel like there's not enough people talking about how incredibly powerful and super fucking dangerous it is too. And that's really important to take note of. And it's not this panacea. It's not this heal-all of everything. It can fuck people up. It can twist up your life, it can twist up your mind, and it can send you into ruins. Like it happens all the time.
It could be addicting too, because you're getting these peak experiences where you may be having good trips, like amazing trips that basically give you that buffer with like everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And so you come back and you feel great, but I mean, it's just like weekend seminar junkies or people that just consume information. It's just like any addiction. You feel good in the moment, but then you come back to reality in real life, and there's no integration, and you just keep going back to these ceremonies every weekend, and nothing's changed about you. You're still a dick.
Right.
Not you, but well, you are sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, the dark side.
Yeah. I have a very pointed dick.
That's your middle finger on the freeway. In this crazy Texas traffic.
Wow.
No laws.
No laws.
Fuck the law. Outlaws.
People do not give a shit here. It's kind of exciting.
I love the freedom aspect, man.
It's fun and sort of scary. But people are really kind.
Yeah, the Wild West, man.
Yeah, the Wild West.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back this the dangers of like the crazy megalomania and people feeling like, because of these realms that they've been able to explore, that they have some kind of one-up on everybody else, and they don't take any time to ground it in, because that's the key, right? Whatever is going on, who the fuck knows what it is? The best thing that we can do, and the best that we can really know is truth, is whatever we wake up to every day. And usually that's a body. Isn't this cool meat suit that we get to navigate through the world with, and if we're leaving it, if whatever it is that creates this life, that creates this activated, engaging beingness that is us beyond just our body, if we're letting that just scoot town and leave the body too often, and not taking the time to integrate, not taking the time to ground it in, and not taking the time to make sure that you're whole again, you can get pretty far out and you get pretty disassociated with what's actually going on here.
Right.
And reality is what you can get away with, and people start trying to get away with more than this physical reality allows for.
Which is interesting because it's not just psychedelics. Like in my experience, it could be like binge watching these shows or going to movies all the time or listening to a bunch of podcasts like this one. Please keep listening. We have a lot to offer for you. But yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes it's hard not to contradict, because here we're trying to provide information I feel will be helpful for people, helpful for me. But back to my point, like even meditation was addicting, where I was like checking out.
Yeah.
And I thought I was just like, this peaceful warrior ninja, like impervious to the world and their problems, and it's not that like simple, it's like but you can get addicted to anything. It's not like psychedelics. I mean, that is still against the law in most places, and people are finding ways to go to another country where it's okay. It's not part of something that's demonized, but even within the U.S., like they're going to these like churches that use it as like sacrament. So people are finding ways on doing it, but it doesn't matter what it is. It'd be psychedelics, something that's considered illegal, which is just like we know it's not. It's the way you look at it, because alcohol, tobacco, prescription drugs, like those things kill like way more people than psychedelics, right? And so yeah, I mean, it's just easy to find a vice,
right,
and check out in some ways, because life itself, in the way that society is set up to be like capitalistic, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with capitalism, but and freedom. But it's so easy to, when you're searching for the answers, to get lost in the search.
Sure.
Than to actually, like, what we're trying to do is have more of a balance where we're actually like living the lifestyle, we're walking the talk, and I just think that's I guess the next step of the information age is helping people like start to like actualize themselves like in this dimension. So taking information from the psychedelic spirit world to like maybe having like a coach such as you to like give you advice or advise you on it, but where it's coming from is like you're actually living it, versus just like telling people what to do and getting paid for it, right?
Yeah.
And whatever it is, like you can get insight from a movie, you can get insights from like YouTube podcasts, seminars, Tony Robbins, they're all like offering like tremendous value, but it's so easy to get lost in that and not actually be producing something. You're just consuming all the time.
Right. Yeah. That's this is where the party's at.
Yeah.
Or whatever tradition you might want to look at, and you get into the more esoteric and extra dimensional realms of understanding that some of them have. The consensus is that it's like, this is it, precious human life.
Right.
Whatever your ideas and thoughts might be, we get one shot at it, and with this body, and whatever you're gonna do, bring it back here and make the most of it here, because this is where it's happening.
Yeah, let's conclude with that one, man.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was really cool. So where can people find out more about you, Matthew?
MatthewMyro.com, MatthewMyro.com.
Okay. Yeah. And what are the things that you can help people with in regards to like your lifestyle and
transformation and performance, the way you eat, move, think, feel, and breathe. Coach you through transforming all those things to be able to perform at absolute peak state on demand.
Awesome, man. And so you have also a background of like weight training, strength training,
Strength training.
Tai Chi.
Yeah, I teach Tai Chi, teach yoga. Yeah.
So all these embodied movements, as well as
Absolutely.
you know, working with the mind.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what it's about, right? You know,
Yeah.
connecting all of the things that we've got. And bringing
Body,
it
mind,
together.
spirit.
Body, mind, spirit.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. Thanks
Thanks,
for
man.
coming on this show, brother.
Thanks for having me. This is super fun.
Yeah, we gotta do more of this.
Yeah.
Next time, I'll make sure I'm more battery.
Yeah. So
And,
we can just talk for forever.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, I want these long.
I know. It was supposed to be Hangry and Horny. Like, I thought we were going to get weirder, but you made it an interview, so whatever, bro.
Hey, man.
It's your show.
Hey, it's weird
It's
right
your
now.
show.
We're ending with weirdness. I feel really awkward. No, dude, seriously. Hey. Boom. Thanks for listening, everybody, and see you next time. Yeah.
8 seconds. That's all that was left.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah.